Teams alive tomorrow night versus the Lavernia Bears. That's coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker. Shauna Curry is off tonight. A developing story out of Bloomington Wednesday night. Officials are investigating after a man was found dead on the railroad tracks. Just after 6 yesterday evening, first responders arrived on the scene to find a man's body on the railroad tracks near the Highway 185 crossing. The man, in his 30s, appears to have died from an accident. His name has not been released. The Victoria County Sheriff's Office is looking into this incident. The Salvation Army of Victoria's main office was a busy place this Thanksgiving. It was the place for their annual Thanksgiving community dinner. The dinner started shortly after 11 a.m. The Salvation Army cooked 90 turkeys. They served a little over 350 people in the dining hall in just over 2 hours. Turkey and dressing, mashed potatoes and green beans are on the menu, and don't forget the dessert. 25 News Now was well represented. Mac Perez saying hi to the folks. We have a little selfie of him coming up. My wonderful wife Cecilia and I were there to help and to enjoy the great meal. Our Shauna Curry was part of the group in the Salvation Army warehouse. They teamed up with Waterwell Cafe to deliver meals. They delivered 360 meals on Thanksgiving Day.
This is the part of what I do that thrills me the most and touches me the most is when folks can come together and folks from all different demographics, different races, different beliefs come together at one time to not only fellowship together, eat together.
Captain Kenny Jones reported they served a total of over 700 people this Thanksgiving. But wait, there's more. The Salvation Army of Victoria revs up its Red Kettle campaign Friday. The bell ringers will be in Victoria at both Walmarts, Sam's Club, Hobby Lobby, and selected Walgreens locations. Also, 10 downtown Victoria businesses will have counter kettles for donations. The week of December 9th, the Red Kettles will be at all 3 Victoria Chick-fil-A's. On December 9th, Chick-fil-A's Day of Care, Chick-fil-A will donate 20% of all purchases to the Salvation Army Red Kettle campaign. That's the purchases off their app, by the way. This is the 125th year for the Salvation Army Red Kettles. The campaign runs through Christmas Eve. Yesterday, Christ's Kitchen held a free flu shot clinic from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. with the support of the Victoria Fire Department. The fire department emphasized the importance of keeping your flu shots up to date.
Yearly, and so that's why it's very important, even though you may have gotten a flu shot last year, to update it with the new vaccine. Just like the COVID, everything is evolving and it's very important.
At Christ's Kitchen, they were happy to and proud to serve a warm Thanksgiving meal, including fruits and produce to those in need. Local churches also came together to help prepare this special meal. Christ's Kitchen is open Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., continuing to serve the community with love and care. Now let's take a first look at your forecast. Here's First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez. True story. When I was at the Salvation Army Community Thanksgiving dinner today, somebody asked me, what's the weather going to be like? And I pointed over there, asked that man. It was Mac.
I wish I had a dinner roll for every time they asked me that. But that's okay. That was part of the fun. And you know what? It felt good. Being indoors, lots of people, lots of human warmth, and hopefully you had a chance to spend some good time, quality time with the family, your friends, and enjoy the day. And give thanks that finally it's not hot. Yes, we're looking at, of course, that north wind that came in overnight, and that brought us finally temperatures that are a little bit more seasonal for this time of year. Now, the rain's going to begin on Sunday, and we'll be talking about that coming up a little bit later on. Don, back to you.
Mac, thank you. This Thanksgiving gratitude might come easily to families of 3 detained Americans. They'll spend the holiday on U.S. soil after a prisoner exchange secured their release yesterday. They're Mark Swedan, Kai Li, and John Leung. The swap follows extensive diplomacy. The State Department says Li and Swedan were wrongfully detained. Leung is known to have spent time with Chinese officials and was serving a life sentence for spying charges. Swedan is from Houston. He has family in Luling. The U.S. also has eased its travel advisory for China. It's now at level 2. That suggests Americans exercise increased caution in the mainland. Black and Hispanic high schoolers who have to drive more than 30 minutes to a community college are less likely to pursue a degree. A recent report released by the Annenberg Institute at Brown University shows that. And to read this full Texas Tribune article, visit our website, crossroadstoday.com. In Minnesota, 20 missing ballots could determine which party controls that state's legislature. The problem is they're missing, and they appear to have ended up in the trash.
We are asking for a new election.
Republicans say that's the only answer after critical ballots that could swing who holds the Minnesota House likely ended up here.
There is a problem, and we know that. There are 20 missing ballots.
Look closely at those two numbers. That's less than 20 votes separating the two. An investigation by the Scott County Attorney's Office found that those 20 absentee ballots were likely accidentally disposed of while they were in their secrecy envelope before being tabulated. The investigation concluded, and the ballots most likely will not be recovered, despite election leaders trying to track the trash from here at Shakopee City Hall to 2 different landfills. And it's not just one seat on the line. If Aaron Paul wins, the Republicans will control the House and the ability to block DFL legislation. But the DFL says that Representative Brad Tabke won the election in District 54A and will prevail again in the election contest. So what that means here in Scott County.
In your eyes, what's the solution to this?
Just more people going out and voting. That's it. Fixes it.
Is the election isn't over yet.
Your vote matters.
Yeah.
20 votes is a small number. Did you go out and vote?
It's unclear if a new election could produce a clear winner before the state legislative session in Minnesota starts in January. You have more chances to watch the latest episode of Let's Grow Texas Ag. It will be on KAVU again on December 1st at 3:30 p.m., KVCT on December 1st at 5:30 p.m., and on KXTS November 30th at 11:30 a.m. We are also streaming on Zeem, so be sure to tune in to Let's Grow Texas Ag. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Then you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. And stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 6. Airline officials investigate how a stowaway boarded a Delta flight and flew to Paris. And some tips to avoid debt as you shop for Black Friday.
Our military hero of the month is Senior Airman Brian Knief. Born and raised in Victoria, Brian chose the Air Force as his next challenge after high school.
March of 1990, I went into basic training, and after basic training, I was my job was going to be a crash fire rescue. So I flew to Rantoul, Illinois, Chanute Air Force Base, to go through the firefighting school for the military, for the Air Force. You have to be careful of what arms are on the plane whenever it does crash, or if they do crash. They teach you that. The angles, you're using mostly a water and foam solution because usually you're fighting just the fuel that is burning. So
did you ever find yourself sitting there on the edge of the tarmac waiting for somebody to land and not knowing if they're going to make it?
Every day, pretty much every day.
Really?
Yes, sir.
After his tour of duty in Saudi Arabia, Brian says he came home and found his life's calling, the police force.
I had done a couple of ride-alongs with a real good friend of mine, and after the first one I was hooked, and I was like, I've got to do this. I should have done this 20 years ago, you know. And after graduating, the day that we were graduating, I was offered the job at the Victoria Police Department. So I've been there ever since and loved every minute of it. So.
One good way to get a smile on Brian's face is to talk about deer hunting. He found other ways to help veterans.
And it's called Bucks for the Brave, where people sign these veterans and first responders, sign them up for this deer hunt that the Trinity Oaks puts on. The hunter I had, he was a retired Army helicopter pilot, and then after he got out of the Army, he became a firefighter. Why aren't you sitting where I'm at, you know? And I said, well, sir, I said, I just love to give back, you know. I said, that's what I love to do, and, you know, if I can pass my knowledge on to you, and, you know.
With 15 years on the police force, Brian Knief is a well-known figure around town, and his message is always safety.
You'll watch cars and, you know, they'll start swerving from one lane to the next, or, you know, you get people that just fall asleep at a red light, you know, or a lot of them are drive-throughs, Whataburger late at night.
I've seen that.
They just pass out in the drive-through, and, you know, Whataburger calls and says, hey, this guy's not, you know, waking up, and, you know, you get a lot of them like that, you know.
For his service in the Air Force and on the Victoria Police Force, Brian Knief is our Military Hero of the Month. If you know a veteran and want to share their story, go to crossroadstoday.com/militaryhero. I'm Maclovio Perez, 25 News Now.
Airline officials are investigating how a woman without a boarding pass was able to get on board a Delta Airlines flight from New York to Paris earlier this week.
In a passenger's video taken after landing in Paris this morning, the pilot for Delta Flight 254 can be heard announcing that police have arrived and for everyone to stay seated.
Until we sort out the extra passenger that's on the plane.
The extra passenger that's on the plane. The TSA tonight confirms that someone without a boarding pass was screened at Kennedy Airport last night. The woman had no prohibited items, but bypassed 2 identity verification and boarding status stations and was able to board the aircraft. The passenger who took the video said flight attendants became suspicious when the passenger was going from one bathroom to another. But that didn't happen until they were practically in Paris.
And just before landing, what is it with this woman going between toilets? Why doesn't she ever go to her seat? There's a failure here that, frankly, 33 years flying worldwide airlines, that it's inconceivable to me.
We asked former commercial pilot J.P. Tristani how this could happen. A stowaway without a boarding pass, getting through at least 3 checkpoints and onto a full transatlantic flight on one of the 2 busiest air travel days of the year.
Even standby passengers just don't get on board. You have to go through the gate agent.
A statement from Delta says nothing is of greater importance than matters of safety and security. That's why Delta is conducting an exhaustive investigation of what may have occurred and will work collaboratively with other aviation stakeholders and law enforcement to that end.
On a day like Thanksgiving, Christmas, these highly traveled, you also have, generally speaking, packed flights. No seats available. All the aircraft are going out full. We have a gross failure here of security right on down the line.
There's been at least one stowaway case in which someone used a picture or screenshot of someone else's boarding pass to get on a flight. It's not clear if this passenger used something like that. Because she went through TSA screening, she did have a valid ID. The FBI has joined the investigation tonight. Sonia Rincon, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Here's some of the top headlines in the Victoria Advocate. A look at the true meaning of Thanksgiving. And Victoria College students travel through time with a turkey shoot. You can read those stories and more at victoriaadvocate.com or pick up a copy at a store near you. Shoppers are adding more debt this Black Friday. Nearly half still have not paid off last year's holiday debt, and a third owe at least $5,000. Despite this, spending is not slowing. Over half plan to use cards for gifts. To avoid debt, wait 24 hours before making a purchase. Take a break from social media to avoid impulse buys and delete saved cards to make shopping less convenient. Most importantly, set a budget and stick to it. There you go. All right, here's your viewer poll for this day. What's your Black Friday plan? Is it shop in store, shop online, or skip it altogether? 82% of our voters overwhelmingly saying we're going to skip it. All right, we thank you for voting. We want to hear from you. Visit crossroadstoday.com/vote and we'll have the latest results at 10. Thanksgiving may be an American holiday, but it has international implications. Veteran journalist Bill Clough explains.
At Thanksgiving, the homing instinct rules supreme, going through those woods and over that river. Thanksgiving is at the intersection of two journeys, our trip to the table and the path from grain to harvest. Odd, isn't it, how little attention we pay to the roads that take us there? Our land is laced with highways, but it was Frost who memorialized that path less traveled by, and the difference it makes to take it. It is the detour, the unpaved path that promises the unexpected, the adventure, the route to those stories we tell around the dinner table. The bread on the table has its own path that the late Jacob Bronowski, in his book The Ascent of Man, says began in Jericho. The ability to grow and store grain, he says, forced man away from a nomadic existence to an agrarian society that exists to this day. In today's global view, it's not inappropriate that a poet who best described the path of each harvest is Yoshiro Ishihara, Japanese. Yet his words apply for any field, of any grain, in any language.
Very nice, very nice. Thank you very much, Bill Clough, for that. It's a reminder of why we're here today, and of course, all the thanks we have. Now, we're thankful that it's not hot anymore. It's finally feeling like the holidays. Right now, we're at 58 degrees. As you can see, northerly winds still with us. They'll be with us again tomorrow, and our high was only 69. Day before, we were at 85. What a change. All right, we'll be talking about when the rain begins coming up in just a moment. Well, it finally feels like the holidays out there. Got lots of cloud cover. Of course, that north wind came in overnight. It was rather brisk this morning. We had a little light rain in North Texas, but that's pretty much ending. You see here in the blue 20 and 30 mile an hour winds. When you see the reds, we're still looking at 40 mile an hour winds that are racing off the landmass and out over into the Gulf. There you see the cloud deck that's coming at us from where? The southwest. More on that in a moment. The storm on the East Coast is finally clearing tonight, so tomorrow the East and much of the Midwest will have a fairly quiet day, about 2 quiet days. The Northwest is doing much better because all the energy is now moving farther south. This is what we call a low latitude storm. In other words, you see it right about there. It's going to be approaching the West Coast within the next 2-3 days, and it's going to enhance all the moisture that comes into our area. Notice all this blue basically along Interstate 40, actually 20 going out to West Texas, and all of the much of the hill country is under a freeze warning for tonight. Right about here would be Junction, so Kerrville's right about here, so everything on that side is going to be their first frost of the season. The good news is that the following morning, which would be Saturday morning, it won't be as cold. We get a little bit of a break. There you see the 30 there. For us, we'll be in the mid-40s. So, yeah, it's cold. I mean, you can't just say it's mild. High temperatures tomorrow getting down into the 60s. That's your high temperature. It'll be overcast pretty much all day long, but not rainy just yet. Eventually, we're going to be dealing with that. This is going to be the Saturday morning low temperatures. We're still in the mid-40s, but you can see how much of the West Texas areas will rise in the temperature just a little bit for that day. Now, let's take a long view here. We're going to go forward. We're starting Thursday. We're going to go into Friday. You can see how there's a little bit of snow activity, but the main storm is offshore. For us, generally on the cloudy side. This map is only showing precipitation, okay? Then we go to Saturday, then we go into Sunday, and then all of a sudden this stuff starts moving northbound because it starts getting fed by that southwest moisture that I showed you a minute ago, and you can see how we start picking up rain. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe even Thursday, Friday is going to be on the sloppy side. So all of a sudden, we're getting real winter weather around here. Now, the thing is, the rain will not be significant in terms of a drought, but it'll be sloppy and it'll be wet. So we'll have to be dealing with that. So northeast winds continue for tomorrow, mostly cloudy skies. High temperatures only in the 60s. In Cuero, you're only getting up to 65, northerly winds all day long, and maybe a little bit of cloud cover breaking out there, but overcast generally most of the day for Friday. Saturday, just a tad more sunshine. Sunday, we're going to call it a front, but all of a sudden the moisture starts getting real thick, and I've got rain Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday as a damp period starts the beginning of December. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that, put Crossroads Today on your phone. Here's Don.
Thank you. Max Williams has your Thanksgiving Day sports.
Thanks, Don. Hopefully everyone's trying to rest up now after that Thanksgiving meal earlier today, but people are still up trying to listen in. Again, I'm going to reveal who our athlete of the week will be. I'll tell you that coming up in sport. Now, happy Thanksgiving here, everyone, too, in the Crossroads. And again, everyone's trying to, like I said, recover from that meal that they had earlier. But I am going to reveal here who will be our athlete of the week. And this week, we're going to give it to Victoria West defensive end Trevor Robinson. Here's more for our athlete of the week. This week's Athlete of the Week goes to senior defensive end Trevor Robinson, who had 2 big solo tackles and 4 assistant tackles in last week's 63-13 win over the Alice Coyotes in the second round of the playoffs. Now, with West getting a big-time win there, Robinson believes this team is very special and can make a deep run to the postseason.
Great to go deep in the playoffs with a team that it's the best team I've played on in years, and to continue playing with them, it just feels good.
With West football team exceeding expectations this season, going 10-2 in the regular season and doing well under a new district this year, Robinson hopes that each week through the playoffs won't be his last.
You know, I was definitely thinking about it. At any moment, your season can end, and I don't want to live in regret saying I could have done more. And I want the season to keep going, and I tried to give it all I had.
Robinson and West look to keep making history as they will face the Bernie Greyhounds tomorrow night at 6 p.m. at Seguin Matador Stadium. Wish West luck and congrats again to Trevor Robinson for being this week's Athlete of the Week. All right, congrats again there to Trevor Robinson, like I said, for being tonight's Athlete of the Week. But now we're going to go to another high school football preview here with the Calhoun Sand Crabs facing the Lavernia Bears at Katy Legacy Stadium at 2 p.m. I will be in attendance for this game tomorrow, and I can't wait. Here's some keys I'm going to try to look forward to in this game. Again, the Sand Crabs, they got to control the time possession of the game. Again, triple option offense, they got to keep, again, the ball in their hands. And also, linebackers got to make a lot of plays there for the Sand Crabs. See if they can do those 2 factors, I think, because, again, this one went down to the wire here last year. It was a last-second field goal here earlier this season, pardon me, there at Lavernia. Again, did not win that game, won 22-20, so keep that in mind going into that one. But some Thanksgiving football here in the NFL. The Detroit Lions faced, again, the Chicago Bears earlier, and they hung on to win 23-20. Jared Goff threw for 221 yards and 2 touchdowns, both to Sam Laporta, the tight end. And then also, the Bears, they got a little run towards the second half. They really get any offense going in the first half, but Caleb Williams threw for 256 and 3 touchdowns. But it was not enough for the Bears as they would lose this one. They face the 49ers next week, while the Lions will face the Packers on Thursday Night Football on Prime there next week. And then some quick news here for, again, former El Campo running back there, Rice Bird, and Reuben Owens. He was listed now as doubtful this week here in this rivalry back between Texas and Texas A&M this Saturday night. He suffered a leg injury during fall camp, and hopefully he'll be able to play because he can bring a lot of production there for the Aggies this season. And then quick update here for you Dallas Cowboy fans. They're up 27-10 over the Giants right now here on Thanksgiving football. We'll give you highlights for that game later tonight. That's going to do it here for Sports. Don, back to you.
Max, thank you, and we're back in a moment. The unexpected winner of the Best in Show category at the National Dog Show. Finally tonight, for the first time in at least 20 years, the dog named Best in Show at the National Dog Show is a pug. His name is Vito, and Vito, along with all the other dogs, was judged based on appearance, temperament, and structure. The breed's official standard asks for those things. This is just the latest honor for Vito. He claimed Best in Breed at the Westminster Dog Show in New York and Best of Breed at the AKC National Show last year. How about that?
Yeah.
Pugs are beautiful. So say these dog show judges.
Somebody
look at
says.
that. Well, he's shaking off all the critics right there and said, "Hey, I got the gold now," and he is strutting his stuff. Oh yeah, there you go. There you go.
Well, he does walk well, but those faces, I'm going like. They snore. They snore a lot. You know.
Do they come from Asia like centuries ago?
Must be centuries ago.
Yeah.
Well, folks, we've got the cloud cover and the cool weather has finally arrived. Next 7 days, we're looking at temperatures being right at where we're supposed to be for this time of the year. No more 80-degree temperatures. The frontal system comes in late Sunday and beginning on Monday. I think we're going to be looking at a rather damp situation with light rain pretty much on and off during the entire 4 days right there. So finally, it feels like the holidays, doesn't it?
Is it going to rain on Black Friday for people?
No, tomorrow's good. It'll be cloudy and cool, and they'll be out shopping.
Very good. Thank you, Mac, and thanks for joining us. We'll see you back here for 25 News Now at 10.